are we here? I mean, that's the question, right? It's the one we keep coming back to, whether we realize it or not. Sometimes we get so caught up in the chaos of life that we don't even stop to ask it. And honestly, maybe it's too big and scary to answer outright. But here's what I think. Before we can figure out why we're here, we need to clear away the noise, the things we aren't here for, because when we're weighed down by all the wrong ideas, it's hard to see what really matters. So let's strip it down. Let's talk about what we aren't here for. First up, we aren't here to be perfect. And I know what you're thinking. Yeah. Nobody's perfect. I've heard it before, but let's be real. How many of us are still chasing it? The perfect career, the perfect family, the perfect image on social media. It's like we're all in this invisible competition trying to prove we have it all together. But the truth? Perfection isn't real. It's a mirage. And the more we chase it, the further we get from what's real. Think about the last time you hesitated to post something or try something new because it wasn't good enough. I do it all the time. I write and I rewrite. I start and I stop, obsess over tiny details that don't even matter. And you know what? All the time I spend trying to make it perfect was time that I'm not living. It's time that I'm not growing. But here's the thing. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's actually part of it. Some of the best things in life come from failure. Think about all the times you learned something important. It wasn't when things were smooth, but when things went wrong. Life isn't about getting it right every time. It's about showing up, trying, and letting the messiness shape us into something stronger. And the funny thing is, the drive for perfection often ties into another thing that we are not here for. We aren't here to work ourselves into the ground, but wow, the world does try to convince us otherwise, right? Everywhere you look, it's hustle harder, grind more, keep pushing. It's like being busy has become this weird badge of honor. Like, if you're not exhausted, are you even trying? But let me ask you this. When you're gone, will anyone care how many late nights you pulled? Will they say, wow, they were amazing at responding to emails at 2 a.m.? Or will they remember the way you made them feel, the moments you shared, the way you actually lived? The truth is, this grind culture doesn't leave much room for what really matters. And I'm not saying work isn't important. It is, but it's not everything. We've somehow confused our jobs with our purpose. And those are two very different things. I heard this analogy once, and it's stuck with me ever since. Imagine your life is a jar and there's these big rocks, and those are your priorities. They're your health, your family, your passions. The pebbles are the smaller stuff. So your job, your chores, your obligations. And the sand, that's all the little distractions that fill in the cracks. If you fill your jar with sand first, there's no room for the rocks. But if you put the rocks in first, everything else finds its place. So what's filling your jar right now? Is it the grind, the endless deadlines, or are you making the space for the things that truly matter? And maybe, just maybe, all this grinding is tied to something even deeper. So the last thing we aren't here for, living someone else's dream. And this one cuts deep because it's so easy to fall into. We're raised on expectations, what our parents wanted for us, what society says we should do, what everyone on social media seems to have figured out. It's like we're all walking around with this invisible script that we didn't even write. But here's the problem. When you live someone else's dream, you lose yourself. You trade your passions for their approval, your uniqueness for their expectations. And the longer you do it, the harder it is to remember who you were in the first place. So let me ask you, whose dream are you living? Is it yours? Or is it someone else's idea of what your life should look like? Because you're not here to be a copy of someone else. You're here to be you. And the only way to do that is to let go of what isn't yours and start building a life that is. So why are we here? Honestly, I don't think there's one answer. Maybe it's different for each of us. But I do know this. We're not here to be perfect. We're not here to grind ourselves into the ground. And we're definitely not here to live someone else's dream. We're here to live, to grow, to connect, to find meaning in the messiness of life, the moments of rest, and the dreams that are truly ours. So here's my challenge. What's one thing you know you aren't here for? Is it perfection, burnout, living for someone else? Drop it in the comments and let's start letting go together, because the world doesn't need us to be perfect. It doesn't need us to grind ourselves into the ground. It doesn't need us to live someone else's life. It just needs us to show up imperfect, messy, and fully ourselves. And that's more than enough. Thank you for sharing this time with me today. If you felt a spark, a nudge, or even an aha moment, give that like button some love and subscribe to join our journey. Remember, you're not alone on this path. We're all about lighting the way and finding our truth together. Drop a comment with your thoughts or just say hi. I can't wait to see you in the next video. Keep shining your light and take care.